Joining us now is Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a Republican of South Dakota. Mr. Leader, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Guy. Great to be with you.
Today is the second anniversary of October 7th and those terrorist attacks. Some of your reflections on that.
You know, it was just an incredibly sad day. I mean, actually we traveled there not long after that. There were a group of about 10 of us, and even then it was just so raw and so hard because you had so many families that were impacted, and all the lives lost and the hostages, which continue to, this continues to be an issue. And we just got to make sure, Guy, that whatever happens in that part of the world, that these terrorist organizations are completely obliterated. You can't do business with them. They are what they are, and October 7th is an incredibly powerful reminder and a tragic reminder of that.
Here at home, reporting out today suggests that Jack Smith's Operation Arctic Frost investigation went after 8 of your colleagues' communications. 8 Republican U.S. senators apparently had at least some of their communications monitored by federal agents. This was during the Biden administration. What do we know about this? That seems, on its face at least, to be pretty shocking.
It really does, and I think we're finding out more about it. But that revelation in and of itself ought to send chills up every American spine, because that is an egregious violation of American liberty, privacy, and I just think that we have to do everything necessary to get to the bottom of it and to hold people accountable. There's just no two ways around it. That was an incredibly, as I said, you look at historically, try and put this into perspective, into context. You don't find many times in American history where something like that's been done, if ever. And we can't let this go. We have to make sure that there is accountability.
Does that include congressional oversight, hearings, that sort of thing, or is this something that you would leave to the current DOJ? What do you think?
Well, I think it probably starts with the DOJ, but I think Congress needs to be involved. There were, 8 United States senators who were among those for whom they were snooping or on whom they were snooping. And I think that the Senate Judiciary Committee obviously is on the forefront of that, the tip of the spear, if you will. But, yeah, I think there ought to be oversight of any relevant committee of the Congress that has any sort of jurisdiction over the agency or the way in which it was done. I think, there's probably some Commerce Committee jurisdiction there because of the way that they used telecom devices and including securing from Verizon, for example, these records. Those are all things that just violate so many laws, and I just think there needs to be the necessary oversight to include not just the Justice Department, but the Congress as well.
We're just a few weeks removed from the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We've seen numerous examples of left-wing violence in this country since then. And just in the last few days, we have learned that the Attorney General nominee for Democrats in Virginia sent text messages fantasizing about the violent murder of the then Republican Speaker of the House and his children, and doubled down on those comments that were absolutely vile. It appears that the national and state Democratic Party have stood by this man, Jay Jones. He hasn't lost any endorsements. You're an elected Republican official. You've seen the climate that we're in. How do you react when you see things like this being said by someone who wants to be, just across the river, the top law enforcement official in the state?
Yeah, I'm blown away, and I think most Americans are too when they hear this story, and it's still getting out there. But the fact that the Democrats, the statewide elected officials in Virginia, have not condemned it and asked him to step aside is very revealing about the state of the Democrat Party today. That is again, these are things that if it were Republican, and frankly, where's the media asking all the hard questions about this like they would if it were Republican? They'd be demanding that heads roll after something like that happened, and it's really pretty shocking that there hasn't been more of a response from the elected officials in the state of Virginia. I don't know how you can turn a blind eye and deaf ear to this. It's just it was really it was pretty gripping, when you see somebody that had that kind of state of mind, seeking a position, particularly one that's going to be in charge of enforcing justice for the entire state. There is no explanation for why these people aren't coming forward and asking for his resignation.
No good explanation, at least. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, our guest on the Guy Benson Show. Day 7 of the Schumer shutdown, this government shutdown. You've seen all the excuses. You've seen Democrats saying, well, we have these demands, but also the Republicans are the ones shutting down the government. It's Trump's fault. It's a lie that we want health care for illegal immigrants. People can't afford health care, and that's also Republicans' fault. I mean, it's all this incoherent messaging out there. From your perspective, do you think it's beneficial for Senate Republicans to hold maybe votes every single day on the clean funding bill that Democrats have supported 13 previous times at this level, just saying, yeah, we're going to vote every day to reopen the government, because they're wanting both credit with their base for shutting down the government while telling the rest of the country that it's a Republican shutdown?
Yeah, I mean, it's their messaging is convoluted, to say the least. But the one thing I think that's clear about it is they are responding to the pressure on their far left base, all the left-wing special interest groups, the MoveOn.orgs of the world. It's been reported that Schumer's been coordinating the strategy with them, and what they want, nothing more, is just absolutely a fight with President Trump. As you pointed out, 13 times when the Democrats had the majority in the Senate and President Biden was in the White House, this is a fairly routine thing. You pass these continuing resolutions to fund the government for a short amount of time.
Well, they demanded it, right? This was their position much of the time.
Yeah. Totally. And now as you said, not only are they voting against a clean, nonpartisan, CR, continuing resolution that has no policy riders, no, partisan priorities for Republicans. It's simply a funding resolution. And in lieu of that, they have offered up this gargantuan piece of, counterproposal, if you will, that has $1.5 trillion in new spending, as you point out, free health care for non-citizens. It's hard to figure out where they are. They're in search of an identity. They don't really have a leader, and as a consequence, it's the tail wagging the dog. It's all these outside left-wing groups and personalities in the state of New York who seem to be influencing the behavior of people who ought to know better. And so I'm hoping eventually that the adults will come back and we'll be able to keep the government funded and avoid all the adverse consequences that come with a shutdown. But at least at the moment, they seem really dug in. But it is purely and simply their absolute hatred for the president and just desire to fight him on everything that he's trying to get done, even if it includes taking a hostage like the federal government.
30 seconds. Do you think this gets resolved and the fever breaks by Halloween, or maybe not?
I don't know. We'll see. I hope it does soon. People start losing, don't get paid here in this next week, and especially the troops, and I hope that gets their attention. We'll see.